What's up, guys? Here we are, Monster Motivator TV number 36. Our guest today, I'm very excited about because, as you know, I love talking to entrepreneurs, but she has a real unique story. And anybody that's going through a fear barrier, not sure which way to turn, not sure what's next, you want to listen to what we have to say today, because this is a very unique story, and you're going to be surprised the way this story starts to turn and spin, and you just got to follow us. So we are in Lake Elsinore, California. Beautiful, beautiful place. If it wasn't so humid, right? My hair gets crazy in this humidity. We can't be out there. I have to be inside. I'm a high maintenance guy, but and if you have any questions, we're going to try and bring it up on her phone. I want to introduce you to our guest, and I love even a little bit that I know about her. I was very excited when we talked after I had a keynote speech a few weeks ago, and we talked briefly, yes. And she gave me a little bit, just a little smidgen of this story, and I said, I got to have her on. Mm-hmm. So I hunted her down, yes. Wouldn't let her go, right. And until she said yes. So I'm very excited. Our guest today has been an entrepreneur since 2013.
2014 when I came home. So
2014, mm-hmm. But we're going to go back, and then we're going to bring it all the way around, because I want you to share with everyone where you started, where you're at today,
okay,
and then where you see yourself going.
Okay.
Right? Because your story is going to connect with a lot of people out there, the single moms, right, that are trying to figure out how to get out of that 9 to 5, or how do they go to school full time, right. Still have that. The guy that's trying to get out of that rut,
right.
Or having a rough time in his business, right?
Right.
So that's the golden nuggets you're going to be able to bring. I'm excited. So, if I mess up the last name, she told me she was going to smack me, so I got to duck. Brittany Rose Trabowski.
Good, Trabowski.
Trabowski. So and I'm half Polish. They're going to take my card away.
It's not an easy one. It's not
so,
easy.
Britt,
yes.
Everyone now wants to know, who are you?
Okay.
Where did you grow up, right? And how did we get here? And we're going to just take this in little chunks.
Right. Well, I want to thank you, because after meeting you and hearing your speech, it was our talk. It was really good, and it motivates me. It's always nice to hear from other entrepreneurs, because it's a lonely island. Oh. When you work for yourself, it's just a very lonely island. And so anytime you can hear someone or glean something from their successes or failures, it's monumental to your own business. So thank you for that.
And you just feel like a kindred spirit, because like you said, I want to touch on this because you just made a great point, right? In the world we live in today, with the internet, it's entrepreneur is like a cool thing right now, right? Startup companies.
It's a good day and age for it, though.
It is, but there's so many. I believe that first of all, there's a special DNA, right? And I believe there's a certain percentage you just can't teach. It's either in you or it's not. And I think that because it's such a buzzword right now, I think that there's people getting into it that not understanding really what it takes.
Well, that's a good point. A lot of people, it's like saying, what do you want to do when you grow up? And they say, I want to be famous. Well, that's not a thing. Right. That's a byproduct.
Right.
Entrepreneurship can be similar. People say, well, I want to own a business. Well, what do you want to own? I don't know. What are you into? I don't know. That's not how I started. And I don't know very many people, or people will tell me a lot. Oh, you're so lucky you run your own business. You don't have to work very much.
Well, we're going to talk about that luck thing.
Yeah.
Because,
but a lot of people think that owning their own business means you don't have to work very much. And it can. But I don't know a single person that owns their own business that's successful, that I consider successful and try to model myself after, that doesn't work 7 days a week.
It doesn't happen.
I don't know. If it did, I would say I would do it.
Right.
If it did, I would do it.
And like you said, I always go into my businesses trying to figure out how to work myself out of a job.
Right.
Right? Because ultimately, if I am forever, I'm just going to get a check from somebody, give them all the headaches.
Right.
But there's so much that you need to do. But before we get into that, so where did you grow up? Where were you born?
So I grew up in a city called Tribuco Canyon. It's in Orange County.
Okay.
Most people haven't heard of it. We had horses. went to school the first year that you couldn't ride your horse to the elementary school.
Okay.
So I was one of
Really?
Yeah.
You could ride your horse to school
Up until the year I started 6th grade.
in
yes.
Orange County.
Yes, it's a little town.
Wow.
It's
What's
a
it
really
near?
fun place. It's well, now it's Rancho Santa Margarita. I was there
Oh.
before that was a city.
Oh.
So I was there when there was no Rancho Santa Margarita. That's how old I get to say I am.
Wow. But you could actually ride your horse. I remember the first time I ever was up in Norco.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not from here. And I laughed because when I first came here, I said, yeah, I'm not from here. They both go, yeah, I know.
we could tell.
I'm in Norco, right, working, and I'm like, and I'm talking to a buddy back east. I'm like, you're not going to believe this. They got horses in their front yard.
Yeah.
I go, I guess it's legal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I never
We
saw
did.
that
We
before.
had my mom bought us. We had an indoor pig. His name was Biscuit.
That's awesome.
He died at 16 years old with cancer of the snout.
Wow.
And
That's
we
awesome.
had horses. We had a mule.
Okay.
All on our property. We had an indoor chicken.
Okay.
We had an indoor duck. We had it was fun.
Yeah.
People say I grew up like Tom Sawyer. It was fun.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fun. And my mom raised us to be very independent. So we were living in a place where I could be extremely independent. She didn't always know where I was, but I knew what time I had to be home.
It's like my growing up, no news was good news.
Right.
That's
Right.
how my mom looked at it.
Right.
No news was good news.
Well,
And-
she knew where to hunt me down, and probably the same for your mom.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And she'd just say it's dinner time.
Right.
She knew how to get me.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
My mom
it wasn't
never
hard.
said that, but no.
It wasn't hard. But let me ask you this: the way you grew up, how much of a bearing did that have on you as an adult and getting into the entrepreneurial world? Was there a foundation built?
Well, I think so. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to work. My mom's a nurse. She's a very good nurse. She's worked my entire life. I come from a long line of women who work hard, hard-working women, and she makes good money actually.
Yeah.
And so I kind of grew up wanting the same thing. I wanted a steady paycheck. I wanted to know what I was, where I wanted to do.
Right.
My problem was, again, I was raised by a father too, who wanted me to be very independent. He would change my tire, but then he would be like, "Watch, because this is the last time." So my sister was a mechanic. She worked on cars. I learned how to work on cars a little bit. I didn't take to it as much.
Yeah.
But we grew up very independent, and I think when I went into college, I did a lot of online classes because I could work independently, and I didn't need someone breathing down
You
my
were
neck.
self-motivated, and
I was self-motivated.
and here's the other thing: you're a Type A plus
Right.
personality, right? And that, just
Right.
from our interaction, I knew.
Right.
She was like, "Look, I want to do it this way, and this way." But that's what it takes. That's what I mean about a DNA, like of an entrepreneur.
It's
and
true.
it's so interesting to me, right? That because I've been an entrepreneur my whole almost my whole adult life.
Sure.
To where you're focused, you were fine with being a nurse,
Right.
You were fine with or doing something else
Yes.
besides. That's so interesting to me because especially your personality is like take the reins, right? Jump off that cliff and we'll figure it out on the way down.
Right. I'm a trigger puller. I'm a trigger
Right.
puller. And I'll
Welcome-
ask questions
welcome
like
to the
that.
club.
We have that in common. But I think one of the things that I learned too is I'm going to work very hard, and I can work hard for someone else, or I can work hard for my family. And that's
let me ask you this. Now I'm curious.
Yeah.
Was it hard for you to work for somebody else? Because you knew what you wanted? You seem like you know what you want.
Right.
You're very crystal clear.
Right.
So that tends to be an issue when someone else is calling the shots.
I will tell you, I work very well in a team. I
Okay.
love direction, surprisingly, and it does surprise people. I love direction as long as I know what the expectations are. My problem was I got bored. I mastered my job at 24, so I got a different job. So I mastered that job at 30, and so at that point I was like, shoot. And people were saying, well, you're successful. That's not mastering something. You're successful. But I didn't feel successful. I felt like it was easy.
Well, you know what? I've learned over the years is really the definition of success. Well, not so much success because I believe success is doing things on your terms when you want. But happiness, right? People always looking for that happiness pill, right? And it really comes down to one thing: fulfillment. If you're not fulfilled,
Right.
you're not happy.
Well, and I would
Is that-
add to that. I would add. I think that's true, but I would add to that challenge. If I'm not being challenged,
Which
I
is
can't
tied
grow.
in with
It
your
is.
you feel fulfilled or
Right.
you felt unfulfilled because you dominated it, right?
Right.
Because we're growing beings, right? How do we keep moving forward?
Right.
And that, to me, I believe has a lot to do with either positive or negative vices in people if they're afraid to get out of that. If they keep going back into safety because we're built to keep moving and evolving.
Right.
So they're looking for an outlet.
Growth. You want
Yes.
growth, and you want growth in your own business and in your personal life and in everything. And
Okay.
sometimes as an entrepreneur, if you want to, you're lucky to have both.
Yeah.
It's hard work. It's hard work every day. I wake up every day. No one has to tell me to go to work. I wake up every day and have to get up and race here. I work from home, but I have to.
But the great part for me and you and our personality is it's new every day.
It is.
Every single day. And I believe
Yeah.
we should really be called firemen because we're putting out fires every
Amen.
every day.
Amen. Amen.
But after a little while, would you want it any other way?
You know, after a while, if it was easy, I wouldn't do it.
Right, you'd
if
be
it
bored.
was easy, I wouldn't do it.
You'd be bored.
Growing business is hard for me. I'm not talented in business. I wouldn't call myself. I don't have generally a business mind, but I had to learn from others that did, and I had to learn quickly so that I could provide for my family.
Well,
and when I say family, I'm not a single mom. I don't have children. I mean my parents and my family.
Yeah, but it's on your shoulders. So there's a lot on your shoulders.
It is.
And for somebody that didn't say from day one, I need to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
But it's so interesting how nature, universe, whatever you want to call it,
Sure.
starts to unfold.
Right.
Like because you were not frustrated, but you were bored.
Yeah.
Because you dominated that.
Right.
Now what do we do? And nature's saying, okay, are you ready?
Right.
So we got something for you.
We got something for you.
We
Hang
got
on.
something for you.
Hang on. Yeah.
But let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
So now you graduate high school.
Uh-huh.
You go to college,
Mhm.
and I know you said you graduated to college.
I did. I graduated college. My last semester I spent in Spain. I graduated later in life. It took me a long time to get through college because I supported myself, worked through college at a hospital.
Okay.
Then I became a manager of a home care company, which I loved. And working for her, she was a woman, and she was amazing. She took over from her family.
Okay.
She didn't want to do it, but she did it, and she did it well. She's one of the best bosses I ever had, Ronnie Mabin, and I model everything I do after
Okay.
her.
So share with us some of the things that you learned, some of the foundations. Sounds like kind of like my story with Tommy. Right.
Yeah,
So
she was my Tommy.
She was your Tommy.
For
So
sure.
give us some things that you learned that you credit her.
I credit her for, she always treated people respectfully.
Okay.
She had a lot of class. Heaven knows that off hours, she
Right.
she could really get down, but she had a lot of class, and she always treated people with respect. And she never, we work with caregivers, and I was hiring a lot of single moms. I was hiring mostly people on welfare, trying to get off of welfare, and that was my job in recruitment.
Okay.
Along with training them to
Okay.
do a job. And these women were downtrodden. They were downtrodden. They had been told they have no skills. They'd been told they have to make minimum wage, and they've got a family to feed. And many of them got into the job because, well, they had to take care of their parents. Some girls, since they were 8, taking care of their parents, and now they're 55
And this is in Spain.
and looking for a job. This is all here in America.
Oh, in America. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
in Spain I was a tutor. That
Okay.
was easier.
Okay.
But there, she taught me while I was in school. I
Mm-hmm.
worked for her, and she treated these women with respect and elevated them. Men too.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of doctors from other countries. Not that only men are doctors, but a lot of doctors from other countries that would come to be caregivers because they couldn't transfer their doctorate.
Mm-hmm.
So we worked with a lot of. I'm working with people that are smarter than me. I'm working with people that can teach me.
Right.
And I have no right to ever, look down on them. And it's really, cutting off my nose to spite my face if I do that, because those people worked hard for me.
And it's interesting that we came here, right, to this point, because I just did a post today on knowing when, if you don't know a subject, having the wherewithal to know when to sit down, be quiet, and learn. And then it's kind of a dance where
Right.
you want to learn from the people that have been there and done it, but also there's things that might not work for you, and have the wherewithal to know, I'm taking this, but I'm throwing this out.
And that's
Is
a
that-
good point. And I hear a lot of people ask me questions, or they'll cut me off and say, well, that doesn't apply to my business. Look, I'm not here,
Right.
I can't know all of the things. That's your job. You need to delineate in your head, and you
Yes.
need to decide what works for you and what doesn't. And we don't need to go through A, B, and C.
Yes.
But that's where I'm like, you got to keep up.
Yes.
And that's what I did with Ronnie. I kept up. I saw what I could take from her, saw what didn't apply. Obviously, pest
Right.
control and the healthcare industry are different industries. But you take what you can, and you don't waste time with other
Right.
stuff.
Right. Here's the other thing I love, and I want to make sure I point out for everyone, is I love that you went into this saying, you know what, some of these people might be more intelligent in certain realms than me, or this might be, or this could be, but you didn't let it hold you back. right? You just kept, because I'm a big believer that action becomes magical. When you take positive, powerful action, even when you don't know what that next step is, I believe that you create, the people and the circumstances start to come into your life to make it happen.
Right.
Those Tommies,
right.
this lady, I do believe that, but I also believe that it's, the darkness is only temporary as long as you keep moving forward. The only time it's permanent is when you go back into safety.
Right. Well, and I would agree. I would say, you know, in other words, there's no such thing as failure. You just stop. You can stop.
Learn.
Yeah, but if you quit something, well, you said you failed, but you just quit. You didn't really fail. You failed a couple times, but you didn't even try.
Right.
You stopped trying.
Right.
So I don't, you know, there's failures that I have in my business, but I don't stop trying, and I won't.
Right, and you're learning.
Right.
Right, and that right there is the only mentality that works as an entrepreneur. It's and actually, let me even take that a step further. As a general manager, as a leader in whatever you're doing, right? That has to be the mentality, or else you are going to lose. Because I do believe that.
Right.
I think that is the only mentality. Okay, it didn't happen this way, but let's figure it out because it could happen that way.
Right.
Like people ask me all the time about in this area anyway about the restaurant. It was a very short ride, and they're like, "Man, you seem like you bounced back so quick." I said, "Because it was just a little part of this whole journey, right? And I learned so much, made amazing contacts, and you just regroup." Some people go back into the fetal position.
Right.
It's just not my DNA.
Well,
and I love that about you.
I would argue that most likely happened to you, not knowing you very well, but that most likely happened to you because you had a series of successes to back up.
Yes.
So it comes with self-esteem, but self-esteem can only come from creating those experiences.
Absolutely.
So if you stop every time you fail, well, now you've just told yourself,
that's so as accurate as you can get. And also, who do you surround yourself with, right? That's a big key.
Not just successful people, but supportive people. My mother has been very supportive with me in the business. My dad, obviously, very supportive. And I surround myself with people that tell me you can do it. The minute I hear no, that's not a relationship that's gonna work for me, as you can imagine.
No, and also it's gonna light a fire. I can tell right away it's gonna light a fire. I can see it in her eyes. Well, I love it. I mean, really, because that's called moxie.
Right.
I mean, and you got it.
Well, we can call it the Bugs Bunny theory. I'll just drill another hole somewhere. But
that's
not afraid of your.
But that's it, and that's what people. That's the energy I want to get across because I saw it in 2 seconds. Right. I could just tell. So let's go back a little bit because people want to get to know who you are, a little bit behind the curtain. That's what we're all about. So now you're out of college. How did you get to Spain? How did that happen?
So I went to Spain finishing my last year in college. Because I supported myself, it was cheaper for me to do study abroad. Okay. And I had really become pretty good at Spanish at that point, and it was my last semester. And I thought, the only way to really push it is to be fully immersed.
So you went there because it was actually better financially for you.
It was cheaper to finish college than when you're supporting yourself.
I mean, seriously, that is, in the entrepreneurial world, I call that badass. That's badass because really, no, that's figuring it out. I mean, look, you just packed your bags.
Yes.
And rolled.
I sold everything I had. My mom sold a lot of things that she had. I took a couple $1,000s with me, and I made that last 10 months. So. That's. I worked as a tutor over there. I made 16 euros a week. That buys food. Okay. And I traveled homeless, and it was a blast.
Really?
Yeah, except when I was in school.
For how long?
When I was in school, so I was in school for 4 months. So I traveled homeless for the first
awesome.
maybe about 6 of those months.
6 months.
Yeah.
Every day. I mean, if there's anybody that's built for an entrepreneur, this is amazing. I knew this was going to be fun, but I didn't know this was going to be this fun. Well. So what did you get from Spain?
I will tell you, I got this lesson, and I got a lot of lessons.
But this sounds good.
I got this lesson. I will always find my way home.
Wow.
You can drop me off in the middle of the Mediterranean. Okay. I will always find my way home, which is, back to my family. Yeah. Wherever they are.
Now, do you miss Spain?
I miss it tremendously.
You do?
Tremendously. Every day I want to go back. Every day.
Okay.
But that's just because, Well, that's another story for
Yeah.
another day.
We'll do a follow-up. Because I'm not letting you go.
Okay.
So now you're in Spain, and give us how you got here with your family business. Give us, how did this whole transition happen?
While I was in Spain, I realized I wasn't going to actually graduate. And at 30 years old, I thought, I really didn't plan on graduating. I just thought I'd do this forever.
This is fun.
So once I realized, wow, I'm actually going to graduate, I need to think of something to do.
Yeah.
So I started writing. I wrote my first article. And I called my mom and said, I want to be a writer. And she said, are you serious? Like, you've never mentioned it, you know? And my first article was published, actually. So that gave me a little momentum.
I love it.
But
So you just started writing?
you have to do it. People tell me all the time, oh, I want to write a book. Oh, good. Well, how much do you write a day? Oh, well, I don't really like writing. Well, then you don't want to write a book. You want someone else to write a book for you. You have a story.
Right.
But you don't want to write.
Right.
I want to.
And you know what? That's so interesting. That's okay.
Yes.
Right? Because that's what I'm doing right now. I would rather have root canal done without anesthesia than sit down and try and write.
Well,
right? That's just not me.
You're not a writer.
Right.
But you have a story.
Yeah. So now what I did is now I have a publisher, and all I do is dictate it.
Yeah.
And we're on our last chapter. We're going to launch this thing at at the end of August.
I can't wait.
And it's called Knockout Fear in the First Round.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How appropriate.
I know, right? You're like, no, not you. But what I said to her is, and she's one of the episodes, and you remind me, I was going to bring her up, Kelly Fitzgerald.
Okay.
So you're sitting here saying, well, I wanted to write, so I started writing. I'm talking to her, and she said, yeah, I wrote my first book, and I couldn't find a publisher, so I started my own publishing company. Just like as a matter of fact, right? And I love that. I love that connection. So you're a writer,
right?
Now.
I am, and so while I was over there, I started writing, and my mom told me that my dad had started his own company.
Okay.
So he's in pest control. He's been in pest control for over 20 years at the time. So it was a couple years ago. And he was getting a lot of heartburn and getting sick because the company he worked for was asking him to do unethical things, not treat, leave a card, water down products.
Toxic.
It was toxic to him. He's very blue collar worker. He's not educated. He's not well read. He's just a simple, good, hardworking man.
Right.
So when I came home, he had 3 clients, and my mom said, "Well, this isn't gonna work."
Right.
We
gotta eat.
Truck.
Right.
Beautiful truck, great business license, and he had the cojones, if I could use some Spanish, to do all that. And he passed all the tests. He passed the hardest test in pest control that you can get, the highest level. But he didn't get clients, and that's a big part of working. So I thought, well, I've done it for other people, and if I can work that hard for other people, I can work that hard for someone I love.
More. Yeah.
Right. So, and I find that that's true too. A lot of people will tell me they want to own their own business because they can work harder and make it themselves, or because they don't want to work. And you have to know which one you are. If you don't want to work, then you have a hobby. Yeah. If you do want to work, you'll have a business.
Yeah, if you don't want to work, don't leave your day job.
Yeah.
Because that is not the recipe.
No.
At all.
No, don't jump off that cliff.
At all.
No.
Yeah.
So I started learning about SEO. I got a telemarketing call that said, we can put you on the first page of Google. And I said, great, Google, I'm familiar with that. Right. And they siphoned $1,400 out of my account, shut off their phones, and jump ship back to New Delhi. So
that's
I realized
wisdom. That's wisdom.
I realized I had to learn. I better learn.
Right.
I better learn, or I'm going to get taken a lot.
Yeah.
So I started doing my own SEO. I started a website for our company, and I started incorporating with other people that knew more than me. I started networking, and I started reading about ants of all interesting topics, and bees, and all sorts of things. But here we are. We grew 300% the first year. We grew 500%. No, pardon me. We grew 500% the first year and 300% last year.
Wow.
We're on our way to do about the same.
Congratulations. I mean,
Thank you.
That is...
Well, we started with 3 clients, so it was a start.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, right, you've never done this.
No.
Right?
No.
You've never been an entrepreneur.
No.
Well, you have been your whole life. You just didn't. Nobody told you.
No.
Believe me, you've been an entrepreneur your whole life, but nobody told you.
Right.
So you had an opportunity, you saw it, you ran with it, right? And now you're in it, both feet.
And now we're in it both feet. And I went to my dad, and he was hesitant. He was hesitant, to be frank, he was hesitant learning from a woman.
Sure.
He was hesitant learning from his daughter.
Handing over the reins. Yeah, no
bothered
question.
him a lot.
Yeah.
So I gave him back the reins, and he handed them back happily. Right. So he wrote me into the business, and now it's our company.
Beautiful.
And that's, you know, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
He does a lot of hard work, and I do a lot of hard work to get him hard work.
Well, but that's what it is. It's that give and take. And it's funny, when I go into a business, whether I buy it or start it from scratch, I always reverse engineer. I always want to enhance my weaknesses with the people that love to do what I'm not good at, right? Which is a lot. Right. It's a laundry list. And then I want to be able to run with my strengths. Right. You know, so that's how I set up my businesses, because I know that's what works. And that's what I think a lot of people fall down, because they think, entrepreneur, you need to do everything. Right. No.
Well, you do need to do everything at first in some ways, but it never hurts to, people are willing to sit. I sit down with anyone that will listen. If anyone has a question about business, marketing, all of those things that I enjoy, the hard parts of business that I don't enjoy, well, I'd refer them to someone I use. Right. But you have to learn about all of it, and you have to care about all of it, but you don't have to do all of it. Right.
And for me, I've always been, even if there's not a budget, I'll figure out a bartering, I'll figure out some sort of win-win, right, to create that, just to fill in those gaps, so I can I love to be in the front, but man, in the back end, if I don't have somebody back there, it's a train wreck.
It's hectic.
It's a train wreck. No, it's not hectic, it's a train wreck. It's a train wreck. But, so you've been now since 2014, so.
I've been a part of the company since 2014 when I came home. Okay. And
where do you see yourself going?
So since then, people have asked me to advise on different things. So I've advised others on small business, depending on what they need. Great. Mostly on marketing, because that's where I find my love. My favorite part of my business is the marketing aspect: SEO, digital marketing, networking. All of it.
So you're not only running the business; you're actually doing a side business as a consultant.
I'm consulting a little bit, and I'm setting up events. I'm setting up events for digital marketing, so that we can teach entrepreneurs how to do it themselves. It's always good at our level right now. I do a lot myself, but that's capped me. So I need to hire another company.
You have to duplicate.
Right. But to start, it's always good to do the most of it yourself. And it's cheaper that way, and it's helpful. And the more I can teach other business owners how to do that, or marketers or other people, I love that.
Okay, so that's really the goal, is you want to teach them how to fish.
Right.
You're not going to fish for them.
Right. Well, some of them I do, because they don't want, they just want me to do that. But it's a smaller fish. If they're trying to cast a really wide net, I would recommend people that I use. Sure. So it depends.
Sure. You could sub it or move them over.
My sister she's an entrepreneur at heart, and she has a business over in Palm Springs. She has a day spa. Okay. So I advise her on how to do things, and she hired a marketer. So my aunt has her own company, and my uncle for travel agencies. Okay. That they run out of their home, and so I advise them on different things.
Okay, what are some of the things that you implemented in the pest control? Like when you came here and you saw things, was there things that you saw right away that you could implement, or?
Right. Well, having a website and understanding Google was imperative to our business. Networking was about 50% of our business the first year.
Do you enjoy networking?
I do. Okay. Well, I like to talk.
Yeah, I mean, but that's how we met, right? Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Well, and I started networking not for business, for people to teach me how to run a business. I didn't know what I was doing. So I started networking, just asking, George Mills, what do you do? How do you get clients? What do you do for your AR? How do you get people to pay?
See, I love this girl. It's all about it. Her whole world is about how she can do it, not why she can't. See, if you're going to get a golden nugget out of this today, you better run with this. Yeah. It's this whole time she's had a barrier, an obstacle, but her focus was, right, what you think about comes about. So and quantum physics tells us that. It's energy. What you think about is energy. Right. So when you focus on why you can't do this, and you make a list of why you can't do it, and it doesn't happen, you can't look around. You got to look in the mirror, right?
That's natural.
It is.
It's natural because I get hit a lot of time. How am I going to do this, or how am I going to do that, or I can't do this, or you hear people. I had somebody who I really care about tell me, well, Brittany, people are always going to see you as a bug girl. No one's going to really take you seriously in marketing, and you hear stuff like that, and it hits you. It hits you hard, and you believe it.
If you let it
for this long. And then you realize that a million people have done it before, and they weren't as smart as me, and I can do it.
Where did that's where so many people fall down, because people say to me all the time, the Monster Motivator, right? You never have a bad day. Every day's a great day. And actually, no, it's not the truth. But but I have that level of awareness from everything that's I've been through to where I'm not going to stay in that funk, right?
Right.
As long as maybe somebody else that doesn't have that. So where did that come from? Because that's a game changer.
Right. Well, I think it started when I needed to get through college. It took me a long time to get through college, and it was not easy for me. Some of my family members, college was easy. I mean, just bing, bing, bang, you know. Yeah. But I'm a slow reader. I love to read. I love to write. I'm a slow reader. It's just, I don't know why. They don't go together, but that's what happened. So I think I realized soon on that I was going to have to tell myself, I looked in this classroom full of 50 people in college, and I said, all of them are passing, and half of them maybe don't have certain attributes that I have.
Absolutely.
I can do this, and I just need to figure out how. Maybe I have to study longer.
Where did that come from?
You know,
where
maybe.
Do you think it came from?
Probably getting thrown off a horse several times in a day.
No, well, let me ask you this: do you think the way you grew up, because your conditioning, like in other words, things that were told to you had to be positive? I mean, had to be from.
I got a lot of positive reinforcement from both of my parents, but I'll tell you what else I got.
What?
It was, well, if you don't make rent, I don't care if you're 16. If you don't make rent, you know, that's it. You know, you need to work it out.
Yeah.
And some of that was a little harsh in some degrees. My dad was very militant when it comes to money and cleanliness. So you know, I'm wishy-washy on both. But
yeah, but that's who made you. That made you.
And he did it out of love.
Right.
Although I will take some of those things in what's the word? Mediation. I'll take some of those things and utilize them maybe partially. I don't want to be as militant, you know, when I have children.
No.
But it did teach me that I had to get it done.
And here's why I believe. See, nature's so ahead of us, right? Mm-hmm. And if you think about this, when a mom bird has her eggs, mm-hmm. and those chicks are trying to poke out of there, mm-hmm. she can much easier help them.
Right.
But she doesn't, because nature knows that the strong survive. Right? Whether he could identify that, define it or not, mm-hmm. he was creating an unbelievable character in a young girl.
It's true. And he wanted to.
Was it fun? No. Was it easy? No.
Wasn't always easy.
Right, but it's not supposed to be.
Right, but there was a lot of fun with that because I was independent. Because my parents raised me that way, I could drive, you know, further than mm-hmm. my other friends. I could have a car early. I could ride my horse.
You could go to Spain.
I could run away to Spain.
You could go to Spain.
My mom was very worried,
it's
but
awesome.
I took 2 years of kung fu before I left, and she was less worried.
This girl.
So,
come on, if you don't love her, that's on you. What do you want me to tell you? I took 2 years of kung fu. I love it. I love it.
I didn't want to be scared.
It's awesome.
I didn't want to be scared.
That's awesome. I love it. I know we had some people jump on. Are you able to get that on your phone?
I am not seeing it on my phone. It's such a shame. Are you seeing it on your phone?
Lori, you know Lori from
I
Legal
love
Shield?
Lori. Yes, Lori from Legal Shield.
She shared her story. She's a beast.
Yes,
I know that she says, hi, Brittany.
Hey.
Awesome job.
Awesome. Thanks.
Awesome. She's loving your story. I know we had a few people jump on. So before we wrap up, I know you're a meat and potatoes girl. You said let's just get to it.
No time.
That a girl. Is there anything that you want to share that I didn't touch on that I don't know about, or and if there isn't, well, first, is there?
I can't think of anything except that, you know, people should feel motivated, and you should motivate those around you. And I love that you're the monster motivator, because you do motivate others around you, and that in turn motivates you. It's a cyclical mm-hmm. thing. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to own your own business, you should definitely do that. But think of what that means in your daily life, because if it doesn't mean 24/7 work, then it's not for you.
Right.
It's not for you. And if I knew one single person that didn't have to work that hard to have their own business, I would be happy to give you their phone number. I just don't know them.
No, and it's because it's not real.
Right.
See, this overnight success on the internet is not real.
Right.
No, and the successful people you didn't see all their struggles.
Right.
All the tough things, all the times that they said you're just going to be known as the bug girl.
Right.
They don't see all that, right? And what you have to get through. And here's what I want to add in, because my mind goes right to what are people saying to themselves that never been down our road, right? Mm-hmm. And they're saying, okay, that's great, Brittany, but how were you able to look at this and say, I don't know this, but I'm going to figure it out, versus why I can? And here's one of the things that I want to share that's actually practical, real life, right? So most people, if I ask them what they want, they're going to tell me everything they don't want.
Right.
That's natural, but that's okay. We're going to use that. Write down those things that you don't want because they're so crystal clear. Then draw a line down the center and do the write the polar opposite of each one of those, and then throw out that left-hand side. Now you have something to actually work with. And again, you can do that internally and not even realize it, but not everyone can, because that's a special gift. That's a self-image that is very, very special.
I would agree.
Absolutely.
And that's a good tool, and I would use that. I would use that tool, and I will.
Because no matter what, we're human,
right?
And things are going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So, real quick, where do you see your business going in the next 5 years?
Our business should be growing. We just signed on another driver, another technician who's brilliant, Danny.
Commercial and residential?
Commercial, industrial, residential. We do it all.
Okay.
Non-termite pest control.
Non-termite pest control.
Licenses.
Okay. And then we're going to share, once we get off, we'll share this. You're going to be able to interact, share your information.
Awesome.
And if you can't get a hold of her, contact me. I know where to find her.
Yeah.
And listen, if you want to talk to somebody that has that DNA, believe me when I tell you, this is the DNA you want to learn from, because and it doesn't matter how long she's been in business. You either have it or you don't at a certain level. And I believe that there's an A, B, and a C entrepreneur, and you absolutely are an A, which is a builder.
Thank you.
Yeah, no question about it. So reach out, ask her whatever you want to ask her, and I'm kind of throwing your schedule out there, but you could bring so much value to people that especially people that are struggling, can't get through those fear barriers, trying to figure out why they can't do it, right? Versus why they can.
Well, if I could just leave a little bit more, and I won't take too long, but I will tell you that blooming where you're planted is really important. I looked around.
Write that down.
I looked around myself and said, what do I have around me? I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I think I know a lot of people I speak to don't, and they want to do something, they want to be productive, they want to work hard, but what? And I looked around and thought, who needs me? Where's there a need? Kind of like inventing a product.
Yes.
And I saw that my dad, there was a need. And so I ran with that. But I bloomed where I planted. I didn't want to be in pest control. I don't really have a passion for pest control. But I have a passion for business.
Exactly.
And I have a passion to have my dad work.
Exactly.
And so I had someone come to me recently. She was a graphic designer, and she said, help me. I don't know how to network. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to get my business off the ground. I just like to do graphic design. And I said, well, what do you do for it? Well, nothing right now. I just like it. And I said, well, what do you study when you're at home what do you look up online? And she goes, well, I look up workout gear. And I go, well, then that's your passion. Right. You don't like your job as much as you think you do. Right. And you need to know what you like. And if you like learning about business, you don't have to love pest control, but you better love learning about business if you're going to have one. Right.
That's a great point, especially the world we live in today with the internet, right? We create our own platforms. Who knew? I mean, we're live streaming in Lake Elsinore, right? Yeah. At 6 o'clock at night, and I'm the most non-techie person, and you guys know that about me.
You did it like a
The Apple Store, they know me by name. They go, how's the family?
Yeah.
Right. But I'm glad you left on that, because I know that you have a vision. I know that's in you, and I know you see yourself taking it a bunch of steps further. And also, I believe your consulting business is probably going to snowball much quicker than you think, and that the old saying is that's a good problem to have. Right. I mean that's a great problem.
I've never complained about too much work.
Right. And that's so what she's telling you is find your passion, figure it out. She just gave you an example, but please do not think that because you found your passion that it's just going to happen. It doesn't work like that. It's very simple, not always easy. And I'm a big believer that, let me ask you this real quick. What's your why for this business?
I've thought about that a lot, and I've been asked that a lot. Yeah. And I used to tell people, I don't know why my why is. I just get up in the morning and I work. But the true answer is that there was two whys. And the one why was that because my dad was an honest, ethical person that deserved to have a job, and he wanted to work for himself, and so I was going to put him to work. Okay. And my second why was because I can. Okay. I wanted to prove to myself that I could run a business, and I wasn't not gonna I wasn't going to quit or fail. I was going to keep going until I learned the formula.
Figure it out.
And there is a formula. And
Yeah.
once you figure it out, it is much easier. It does get easier. But that's my one.
If you're willing to fall down, get dirty,
take your knocks,
right? Get back up and wipe yourself off. So her why really was her family. And I always say when your why becomes bigger than you, you become unstoppable. You become bulletproof. As long
gives me goosebumps. That's true.
No, but it's so true. It's so true. It's always the same recipe, just different ingredients.
Yep.
And that's the bottom line in all aspects, personal, professional, physical, spiritual. I don't care what pillar you're talking about. It's always the same recipe, just different ingredients. Anything before we jump off, because we're getting ready to jump off.
No, I've said my piece.
I know. If she said, don't go any longer. I can see it in her eyes. So guys, thanks so much for tuning in. As you know, Monster Motivator TV, we want to highlight businesses, entrepreneurs, nonprofits that are making a difference in their community. If you know somebody or you are that person, please reach out. We come to you. We take all the excuses away, and we want to get your message out there. So Monster Motivator TV is here for you, for the community, and pretty soon we are going to be nationwide, and I will keep everyone posted on the book coming out. I'm very excited. I never thought I was going to be an author, but I think I am.
Yeah, you are.
Close enough.
You are.
I did audio. Yeah. Anyway, but thank you guys for tuning in, and Brittany was going to share this, so please reach out to her, and guys, keep making it happen.
Yeah.
Atta girl. Great job.